The following podcast is recommended for mature audiences only. The following podcast is recommended for adults only. Maturity is not a requirement.
Hello and welcome to Dear Download, a podcast about Download Festival, music and the industry, and all other aspects related to rock and heavy metal. This episode we are diving deep into Sleep Token, the headliner of Download 2025 on a Saturday night. I am Adam, and as always, I'm here with Simon. How you doing, my man?
Good Sleep Token day to you, sir. How are you?
Sleep Token day. I'm very well, thank you. Have you been sat on that one for 45 minutes?
No, we haven't. I just come up with that one. Stu put me on to the last one. That was better.
Cool. Right, speaking of him, yes, we are also joined by the 18th letter of the alphabet boy.
Quick maths.
There's no way you just worked that out in your head, did you? Is that right?
Yeah. Our boy, Stu.
Our boy. Hello. Yes, thank you for having me again. Very happy to be back talking all things Sleep Token. Yeah.
Good.
Can't wait to get into it.
Excellent. Well, I mean, the last time we spoke, it was like a year ago since you were on. I mean, we probably hadn't really spoken much since Download. Now it's only been like 6 days. So anything interesting happened over those 6 days since we last spoke?
Yeah, great. I went to see Kubla Khan at the O2 Institute in Birmingham, joined by regular listener Jaggy Sean. It's great to see him. And yeah, just had a great time. Supports from Gideon and another couple of bands that were great. But yeah, really good time. Good moshing. Yeah, it was great.
Nice. What about you, Simon? Anything new?
Not really, sir. Just a lot of baby poo. That's all I've been engulfed in since we've last spoke. So no, apart from that, nothing much. The weekend went way too quickly. I was looking forward. It's like living for the weekend doesn't work it goes by too quick now. When you're young and you've got nothing to do and you're hanging out with your mates, it goes a lot slower. When you're like, oh my God, there's work. I've got the weekend. Those 2 days will just disappear into some sort of black day hole. So, yeah. But no, nothing to report, sir.
Have you played Baby watched any Band of Brothers with Baby yet? As per my recommendation.
Not yet, no.
No? So my recommendation to Simon to get a baby to sleep through the night is to watch Band of Brothers with them when they're about to go to bed, because then they'll sleep through anything. So any new parents listening, you know what to do. You know the rules.
I've actually got the week off of work this week, which is nice. Very, very much needed after the Christmas period at work. And well, you two obviously would have known, because I sent you a picture of my salad bowl that I was eating while I was watching Simon Bond on YouTube.
Did you?
He's on the cut.
I know you're not the biggest Linkin Park fan overall, Ad. But did you agree with my ranking, or was there anything in there where you were like, "No way"? You too, Stu, because I know you're both Park fans.
I don't really know the albums very well after Meteora. I've listened to them a little bits of them, but not enough to rank them.
Okay. Would you put Hybrid Theory over Meteora though, or
yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said. There wasn't it was just as good music wise, but there wasn't quite as much oomph in it. I can't remember the word you said, but it was lacking something that the first one had.
What about you, Stu? Anything you?
I definitely watched it, and I agree with all the points you made. No, I'm sorry. I have not had time to even scratch my own arse, so I apologise. I'll watch it some point before the weekend, and I'll feed back and I'll tell you how correct you were.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, what a way to call him out live on the not live, but
well, he put me on the spot. What am I meant to say? I meant to just lie.
That's what I meant. Him call you out, yeah. Anyway, like I said, I got a week off, trying to get some cleaning done around the house. Trying to fix some things, which isn't going very well. Need to fix my computer now as well, but I got bits of door handle just scattered across the room at the minute because I'm trying to fix that.
You got dad jobs.
Yes, yeah. I don't very often get those jobs, but yeah, very much. Anything else new? No, nothing else new really. I have been quite interested in learning about learning more about Sleep Token. Well, shall we get into it? Simon, you said you've got a little bit about them that you want to say.
I do.
Actually, before we do that, sorry. I know you're a huge fan, Simon. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your history with them, when you got into them?
Yes.
I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, so I saw them on the lineup for Download 2018, I think. It was either that or there was a Kerrang article where it had a picture of Vessel on it, and I was like, that looks pretty messed up. I need to know what this is. So it was one of those two things. I can't remember, but it definitely was around the Download 2018 time because they were obviously being pushed because they were playing. And I think they released the 3 EPs by that point. So I think they only had about 6 to 9 songs out, but they were across like 3 EPs that come out. So I thought, oh, listen to these. And I was absolutely blown away. I was literally like, I've never heard anything that sounds like this before in the world of alternative music. I was like, this is wild. And then I sent some stuff to Alex and we were like, yeah, we have to go and watch this band at Download. And we did. And I was even more blown away by Vessel's voice live. And it's just crazy that they were playing to a half full 4th stage tent in 2018. And we're talking about them headlining the festival now, which just shows you the glow up. But yeah, that was my initial thing with them anyway.
Yeah. What about you, Stu? Were you a fan before?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, my first recollection of hearing them was actually was it 2020? We had to have Download cancelled due to lockdown.
Yeah.
So if, I'm not sure if anyone else remembers, but I'm sure you two remember. That year we had Download TV, which was like their version of, we can't do Download, so we'll do a TV show almost. And I think they've streamed it live on YouTube. And Download TV, it was essentially showing the bands that were going to play that year, and they just got them to do either messages or live performances and recorded them at home. And I just remember this one band I'd never heard of, Sleep Token, having a song on, and it was literally just a visualizer with just black and white footage of different landscapes, and it was The Offering. That was the song that was played, and that was the first time I heard it. And after hearing it that once, George and my wife will tell you, I must have drove her absolutely insane, like repeating that song over and over again.
It's a banger, though. Like, it's a banger.
As soon as it had finished, I'd put it on again, like dee 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 dee, and then every single time she'd say, "Are you listening to this again?" So yeah, listened to them for the first time then, loved them, and then obviously when Download returned for the pilot, they were booked for that as well. So yeah, saw them for the first time at the pilot in a tiny little stage just to the right of where main stage was. And I can't remember it being overly busy, to be honest. But that was my first real experience of Sleep Token, and loved them since.
What about yours, Ad?
I had never heard of them until we went to see them on the Avalanche stage in 2022.
Isn't that crazy? He didn't hear of a band that 2 years later would headline the festival.
Yeah.
Until 2022, which is just insane.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably going to be quite a common thing for Sleep Token, although I would say for me, I'm in my own little world of music anyway. So, it's not surprising that I hadn't heard of them. It was the same with Ghost. They're a headline band. I'd never heard of them until a year or so ago. They were like the headline Bloodstock.
That one's mad. Didn't they? That one's mad because they've been going since 2010. So they've been going for a good 15 years, 14 years until you'd heard of them. So the Sleep Token one's not surprising, but the Ghost one is.
Yeah.
I didn't know Ghost had headlined Bloodstock myself. It's news to me.
Yeah, like 2016 around there somewhere. I think. Yeah.
I think it was 2016. But I'd never heard of them. Like I said, own little world. But Sleep Token have made it onto my radar now. So they are worthy of headlining. I know what I'm about. So, I mean, this next hour or so is going to be all about Sleep Token. Simon, you said you've got a little bit about them to talk about.
I do,
before we get into it fully. Do you want to take it away?
So just to give you all the lowdown on Sleep Token, if you're not really sure about Sleep Token, who they are, just start with this quickly. So Sleep Token are a British metal band formed in London in 2016, which is insane. So the band basically wear masks to hide their identities. So similar to bands like Slipknot, Ghost. They combine electronic soundscapes with piano, gent-style metal, but sometimes they incorporate pop alternative and nu metal stylings in some instances. So they really do sound very different to anything that's out, although already there are a few copycats, but that's to be expected when a band like this gets so big. The Sleep Token lore says that they are the mortal representatives of the ancient deity known as Sleep. And of course, they are led by their masked and cloaked frontman, Appointed Vessel. So yeah, safe to say they really are a band like no other, which sort of gives reason for their rise in popularity, because they sound like no one else, they look like no one else, and they just have a vibe like no other band. So they do stand out like a sore thumb.
So headlining Download Festival after 3 albums, I mean, it's been done before. Linkin Park did it after 2 albums. But same as we talked about last week, Linkin Park were the whole of the music scene at the time was just crazy. Like everything in rock and metal was in the mainstream as well.
Yes.
So that's kind of it's a little bit more surprising with Sleep Token than it was with Linkin Park.
Yeah, but I guess it would be fun to see if Sleep Token came out in 2000, how big they would be compared to now with that extra all eyes on rock and metal, to see if they would be like, Linkin Park levels of huge. Because if you look at the headliners for this festival, they've got the least listeners out of Korn and Green Day. So even though they're big, they're still not Korn or Green Day big, numbers wise anyway.
Yeah, but they still have like risen in popularity massively.
Yeah.
I think I actually don't think they would have been as popular if they were around in the early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I was saying, like, it's not that they've been pushed to headline so quickly, too quickly, because it has been done before, even quicker so than 3 albums, like I said with Linkin Park. But
with bands now, though, I think it is a sort of strike while the iron's hot, because you never know how long these bands are going to last. If Sleep Token come out with a couple of stinker albums on the next 2, I can guarantee they won't be headlining Download again. So this could be a one-off Download headline performance, unless they keep going in the trajectory they are. I'd be very doubtful if they had Sleep Token back to headline again. So there is quite a lot riding on this and their next album, I think.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't want to be
trying to say. I think that's just a fact. Bands these days do not have the pull that the bands from the 70s, 80s, and 90s have. It's just that's just fact. So you have to be consistent to stay in the positions where before people could release 3 good albums and they could headline festivals for like 40 years. That's not really the case these days.
No, but I think there's a benefit to that. And I think that, like we saw with Bring Me the Horizon, we've heard Andy Copping say that they spent more money than they were paid on the stage show and everything else for it. So bands these days know that they have to put something on. They have to put something special on to be remembered.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. They bring me things like that, because even if Bring Me released another stinker album, the fans will demand them back because they were so good. So if Sleep Token pull that out the bag, and even if they release a couple of stinkers, people will be like, no, we want Sleep Token back because their performance was so good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like I was saying, I think bands know that they've got to put something special on, and it's a whole performance. It's a whole stage show, I guess, a whole show, not just playing music on stage. Because you're headlining, playing the best songs you've got. It's going to be incredible. Even though I don't.
I knew what you were going to say then. I knew what you were going to say then.
No, it's actually different to what I said last week. I don't really enjoy listening to their music. I don't. I put it on. I don't really enjoy it that much. But I'm going to be there for them at Download, because it's just going to be an incredible show. It has to be for them. I know they'll put an incredible show on because they have to.
Yeah.
So
you're almost guaranteed to get a good show from a band that needs it, rather than System of a Down, who don't need it. I know we keep mentioning System of a Down, but they can go up and put a boring thing on, still sell tickets, and not do anything. But bands that have a lot to prove, they have a lot to prove. So yeah.
I mean, this has got more. They've got even more on top of it, in more than Bring Me the Horizon did, because Bring Me, it was like, oh, the headlining Download. Yeah, but they've already headlined Rock am Ring amongst other festivals. So for them, it's just another headline show. Whereas Sleep Token, this is their first ever headline at a festival, full stop.
That's true.
So I think, as what's already been said, as much as Bring Me obviously did prove themselves, they'd already proved themselves beforehand.
Yeah.
So they've got a hell of a lot more riding on this Sleep Token have than the predecessors from the other year.
Did either of you look up whether Sleep Token are headlining any other festivals?
No, they're playing under Bring Me at a couple of places, but they're not headlining any others that I'm aware of.
Yeah. So they haven't got complete command of the stage.
No, but I mean, I like that. I just like that Download now just going, do you know what? You're a headliner, and we're going to put you on to be a headliner, which is fine. It's great because it's a great experiment. And if it fails, it fails. We'll move on and find some other people to headline it. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. But if you do find a band like this, pick them out. You know, they're popular. Strike while the iron's hot. They've got a great stage show anyway. It will look even better on that giant Download stage. It's a win-win really, because they're just going to sell loads. Well, I don't know how many tickets they're going to sell, because Sleep Token fans are very much Sleep Token fans. But if I walked up to your average Download goer, they might not even be aware necessarily of who Sleep Token are. So I'm thinking crowd-wise, this day can go one way or another. I really can't predict what the crowd size is going to be for this. I honestly don't. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. I know why they call them Sleep Token, because I put them on and I fell asleep.
I could tell you what now is your Iron Maiden crowds of, let's just say, older gentlemen will be walking off pretty quickly when that piano part starts. That's all I can say. But that's just what I'm predicting.
Got to have the Horlicks
that might
and
not
go
be
to
the
bed,
case. Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be. It's definitely one of the most interesting gambles that the festival has taken since, you know, Slipknot back in the day was a gamble, but less of a gamble than this is, like Stu said. And Bring Me was a gamble, but still less of a gamble than this is. So it's going to be interesting to see how it turns out, I think.
It is. Yeah. And I honestly think it'll turn out well for them. I feel like I've seen a lot more people saying this year that it's going to be their first year. And I'm looking at it and thinking, why? You know, trying to work out who it is that, you know, maybe as young people who've never had a chance to go before, but
could be.
Yeah, I would put money on Sleep Token being the pull for a lot of new people.
I mean, if you look at the years where I first went, you'd have the newer bands. I'm saying newer bands, inverted commas, but like newer bands like Avenged Sevenfold. They were the pull for me, and then the classic band would be like your Black Sabbath or your Metallica. Whereas now, the current band is Sleep Token, and the golden oldies are Green Day and Korn.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just breeding the new generation of Download
It's
fan,
a generational thing as well, because there's going to be fans out there of the latest generation. They've never seen Green Day. They've never seen Korn. And then Sleep Token is their, like Stu said, their band of the now. Yeah. But they'll be clamoring the walls to see Green Day, because most people will, because, you know, even though they're not a generational band, because they speak to so many generations. Same with Korn. Korn are one of those, generations doesn't mean anything to Korn and Green Day, because people have been listening to it from the 90s and kids still listen to it now. So every generation wants to see them, you know, at a festival. So yeah, even with the generational thing, it's still a pull. And then Sleep Token is the now.
Yeah, which is absolutely the correct thing for Download to do, because if they just continue recycling the same old headliners year after year, they're not going to get a new demographic. So when that older demographic are too old to go to festivals, guess who's going to have been booking the likes of Sleep Token and Bring Me the Horizon? Reading in Leeds. Yeah. And Download would have just died a death.
You've just pretty much described the reason why Monsters of Rock died. Yeah. Because they refused to book bands, and then they did for the last two, but they were too late by that point. They'd run the festival into the ground. I know that's only one of the factors, but it was a big factor, as they didn't embrace the music of now. They were too busy looking backwards and not forwards, which is a big downfall for a festival. But Download, you know, to be fair, for most of the time, Download have looked forward as well as backwards. Maybe not every year, because you can't do it every year, but for the most part, if you were to do like a tally of the bands, I think they've looked forward as much as they've been able to up to that point, probably.
Oh, I don't know. I had a question a minute ago.
Ask me what I'd call my Sleep Token tribute band.
I don't know how I'm going to edit this, but this might come out as a completely out of the blue question. But Stu, what would you call your Sleep Token tribute band?
Snooze Voucher.
Snooze Voucher.
And I'll be the lead singer, and my name would be Gristle.
Gristle.
That's all I got.
Oh, Jesus.
I was just trying to fill the silence there.
Well, can I just give a shout out quickly then to Sleep Talkin on YouTube, who is a parody character of Vessel and covers Sleep Token songs in a funny manner.
Yeah.
Sleep Talkin.
Yeah.
So Sleep, Tokn, Sleep Talkin. Please Google Sleep Talkin and watch his videos. They are the best thing ever. If you like Sleep Token, you'll die.
Tell you what you could do. Go like a Lord of the Rings route. Sleep Tolkien.
Sleep Talkin.
Sleep Token.
Oh my God.
go.
Everything's played on
Amazing.
flutes and shit. That's amazing.
I can see the fan fiction already. Sleep Tolkien.
Sleep Talkin.
Yeah.
Someone needs to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a touring tribute, if I've ever heard it.
Yeah. Can anyone play any wind
So,
instruments? Let's get involved.
I did a lot of research into the lore and the story behind everything, and I love that kind of thing. But I don't think it's a good idea to lead so early with that. We should probably talk a bit more about the music and everything first. But I'm curious, because Simon, you've probably listened to everything they've ever done from the beginning.
Yeah.
Was it the first? You said it was the first EP that you heard.
I think the first three, at least 1 and 2, were out at that point. I can't remember what years everything came out, but yeah, they had at least 4 or 5 tracks when I first started listening to them. And then they brought out the third EP, and then the album came afterwards. So in 2019, they've done the album. But yeah, before that, you didn't have much really, Sleep Token at all until they released the album. And they drip fed that to you, as I'll go into later when we talk about the albums. Yeah.
Did you follow along with the lore very much as it went? I don't feel like you're the kind of person who would have looked into that too much, but I wanted to ask.
Not really, if I'm honest. I was always fixated on their music more than anything. I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved the presentation. I loved the not talking or even acknowledging the crowd live. I loved that they were sort of really shrouding themselves in something. And I wanted to say as well, which this just knocks on, is I don't want them to do what Slipknot done and like unmask.
Yeah.
I want this band to remain as some of the members have already been found, but they're not in other bands with their masks off like Slipknot were, and like we talked about it before. People don't realize how early Slipknot unmasked. They were only unmasked for about a year, and then they were all in other bands, and we were like, well, we just know who everyone is now. So I hope that Sleep Token just try and keep that lore and themselves as covered up as they possibly can, because I think it will just help that perception of the band. I think once you unmask, it's cool, but you always know who's behind that mask. When you don't know, it just gives it more intensity when you don't know who's behind there. I think that that's just for me anyway.
And I think they feel exactly the same. There was a quote I heard earlier on a video about not people not knowing their identity. I didn't write it down. I thought, I'm not going to need that. That's too much. Now I wish I knew. I wish I wrote it down. But it's something about how people judge bands by who's in them. So they didn't want people to know who's in the band, so they don't get judged or something like that. And I think that is one of the reasons why a lot of the fans don't care to find out. You can find out. You can find out quite easily with a Google search. I did ages ago, and I would have felt pretty good about it. But you'd already told me that people don't want to know, so I would have been like, I just sort of had a realization of, okay, it's actually quite easy. It's just a Google search away. People can do this if they want to, but they don't want to, which is even crazier.
It's like Ghost though, with the nameless ghouls. You don't have to. They've swapped them out. Pretty much all the nameless ghouls are completely different to the ones that are on the first 2 albums. So, but it does. No one cares. As long as they're good musicians. Okay, the music changed slightly when the new guys all came in and stuff, but you can always tell musically that it's a little bit different. But when you're looking at them on stage, you're perceiving just those masks. You're not saying, Dave has left the band. Oh my God. Obviously you can tell because of the guitars and the hands and stuff, but your brain doesn't really look... When a main member leaves of a band, it changes something in your brain when you look at that band. But if no one knows who you are or cares who you are, then that doesn't matter. Sleep Token could swap out everyone but Vessel. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah. What about you, Stu? I don't know. Did you go back to the beginning and listen right from the beginning when you got into them? And did you pay much attention to the lore and the story?
To be honest, after saying that I'd heard The Offering, previous to doing research for this, I wasn't aware that they'd released previous EPs. So as Si said, not sure of the year. The first EP was 2016 with 3 singles, and then the second was in 2017 with another 3 singles. But no, I never went back and thought, what else have these guys done? I thought their debut album, Sundowning, I thought that was the first thing they'd ever written as a band. So no, and in terms of the lore, it's not something I'd got into previously. So not at all, even I hadn't gone back all that time ago to see what had gone on. But if you do want some, I've got some quotes from their first ever written interview, which was actually in 2016, if you'd like me to read some of their responses out.
Yeah, go on. You might have the quote I was just trying to think of then, because I think that's the only interview they've ever done.
It is. So this is the only, other than another interview that was done by Drumeo with the drummer too, this is the only other interview, but of course it is written. It wasn't spoken. So they are quite elusive. So it'll probably give you a bit more of a vibe of what they're about as, do I say characters? Do I say people? Just what they're like as an entity. Entity's probably the right word to use. Isn't
That's
it?
cool.
Yeah.
You like that, yeah? We'll go with entity. So they were asked the question, for example, what is the story behind Sleep Token? And Vessel's response was, how we got here is as irrelevant as who we are. What matters is the music and the message. We are here to serve Sleep and protect his message.
I love it.
Cool.
So
I live
as
for this
elusive as you'd expect.
I live for this stuff, even though I like the band far less than you two do. I love it. Carry on. Sorry.
We'll do, because we've just spoke about anonymity and their identity and whatnot. They were asked, why do you all wish to remain anonymous? Their response was, our identities are unimportant. Music is marketed on who is or isn't in the band. It's pushed, prodded and moulded into something it isn't. Vessel endeavours to keep the focus on his offerings.
Nice.
So they're just trying to push. Yeah. It's not about who like personally is in the band. Listen to the offerings if you like it. That's all that matters. And interestingly enough, we spoke about Ghost. There is another question here. Do you worry people will liken you to bands like Ghost? And their response was no. The only comparison that could be drawn with Ghost is our anonymity. Our verses are a token crafted to magnify and embody the multitude of emotion that writhes in our subconscious. Wow. Someone could fall asleep to this as like a nice, with my black country accent. Sonically, our voice is rooted in the resonation between the notes of our emotion. Take our hand. So
nice.
All very interesting, all very mysterious. And this was in 2016, so the vision has been alive for nearly 10 years, going on 9 years now. So they've known what they wanted to do from the very start.
The guy's a genius. Absolute artistic
I think
genius.
so. Like listening to some of the lyrics as well, like how someone can come up with like this combination of phrases and sentences. It really is incredible. I'm in awe of. If Vessel is the sole lyricist, I'm in awe of him.
Definitely,
100%.
Yeah. We'll come back to this. I know I said we'd go into it a little bit, but we won't start with it. We've kind of gone into it a little bit further. I really want to go into it more, but we should focus on what we can expect at download. So yeah, Simon, you probably know the best out of all of us. What do you think it's going to be like at download? What do you think we might be able to expect?
I think you're gonna get banger after banger after banger with very little breaks, because they don't really do that. I think some people will find the no crowd interaction very weird if they've never seen them before, because you'd expect, even a band just to say hello, thanks for coming, cheers, headlining and all that. You won't get any of that at all, which people do find quite strange. But you will get amazing tunes, fucking fantastic sound, because they always have great sound whenever I've seen them. And the light show will be unbelievable, because their light shows always are. They have been since day one. But the show that they've got at the moment with the lighting setup is unreal. It really is a blow your mind kind of set. And they won't have anything fancy. They won't have any LED screens. They won't have any fancy things. They might have a tiny little bit of pyro. It will all be set by the tones, where the songs are going, and the lighting will sort of tell that story with the music. That's what you get from a Sleep Token show. So some people are going to stand there so bored, and other people are going to be bawling their eyes out when Token hits those high falsettos. So yeah, it's going to be a split crowd, I think.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a stage show that you're going to want to be central in the field, just to see it full on. Really, to compare it to Bring Me the Horizon again. I'm so gutted because I was stood really close to the front, but I was to the right, so I barely saw any of the LED screens they had behind them. So I won't be making that mistake again for Sleep Token. Get yourself in the centre, far back enough to see the whole stage, and I can guarantee you'll have an incredible time.
Yeah, I think what you said, Simon, as well. Some of the videos I was watching earlier, something I think I listened to Take Me Back to Eden today, and none of it really interested in me. I listened to the whole album, but the tone of this guy's voice, the way he was talking, trying to talk through the story and everything, and then he would play like part of one of the songs, might have been The Summoning, after, and it's just my emotion had been changed by his voice and what he was saying. Maybe it was like the part of the song as well, but like, yeah, it just hit me completely differently, and I think that's what it's going to be like there as well, live.
I think
he's just going to completely take over. I think he's just going to completely take. Well, they are just going to completely take over people's emotions and how you feel, and tell you how to feel, basically.
Yeah, I think on record, if you already know the band and like it, you can get quite emotional. But when you see his emotion live, when you see that sort of on stage, it really does speak to you. You can actually you can't see his face. You don't need his face. His voice, his actions, his movements, you can actually see the emotion literally pouring out of him. It is like, it's like a drug when you see Sleep Token. You are totally infatuated with Vessel. You are just drawn in by every single little thing that he does. And then the rest of the guys, they're not doing much in the slow parts, but when the heavy parts take over, the band is going mental, and then you've got the backing singers that are just giving those beautiful harmonies. It's just, you will definitely feel things seeing Sleep Token live, especially during the more emotional tracks. And, songs like The Summoning, The Offering, the ones that really have the big sort of breakdowns, the pits are going to be wild for those, I think, because they always are at their Sleep Token shows. Yeah, dude. Oh, man. Just wait. It's going to go off.
Okay.
Their breakdowns are pure Gent City, man. It's like, they've just
Gent City.
listened to too much Meshuggah and gone, yeah, that's what we want to do.
I mean, even before we started recording, me and Saul were ad-libbing some of the breakdowns. So as soon as like the pit's open, it's going to be mental.
Yeah,
it really is.
Definitely.
I mean, you're saying about like you'd listen to one song ad and you wouldn't really feel anything, but then the next song, because it was all like proper kick-ass guitar, drums, and whatever, you were interested. Something I did in just doing research this time around was really listen to the lyrics, and it's weird how listening to the lyrics has changed them completely for me. Like sometimes you can listen to a band and you're just like, yeah, it sounds good, I'm happy to listen to it. But some of the slower songs I just wasn't that bothered about. But in actually knowing the lyrics and knowing what the song's about, it's changed it completely for me. Like the different concepts that people have and ideas of what these songs mean. It's made me look forward to seeing them live even more so. Because they're like, the album, for example, I won't go too deep into it yet, just in case you want to go deep into it later. Like Sundowning, if you listen to the album from the start, like each song tells a story, and it's almost as though Vessel is talking from his experience, and then the heavier songs, that's like the point where he's pissed off at what's going on, and that's where like it really kicks off. So if you can listen to the albums, if you're struggling listening to them, listen to them album by album, and just listen to them one song after the other, and just listen to the story that's going on. It really helped me enjoy them hell of a lot more than I already did.
Yeah. Well, a bit of a spoiler for later, and when we do get into it, but every song they've ever released is a story in order of when they released it. Each song follows on from the last, which it just blew my mind. So like the first song on 1 is him meeting Sleep, which is
very cool.
It's cool. Yeah. Well, off of the back of that, we'll go into it. I'll probably say a little bit about the lore and storyline as we go through, and then it'll come to it later, and I'll be like, I've got nothing else to say. I've said it all. So building up to it. But yeah. So after that, should we talk about all the albums and in all 3 of them? And what we might
talk
expect
about them.
to hear them.
Well, me and Stu discussed earlier that we actually have the same order of albums in the ones we like. So I'll just go through them from. They're not right. None of these albums are bad. Okay, so like all 3 of the albums are solid across the board. Like the quality is like very high to incredible across the board of 3 albums. There's no bad album. There's just ones that I prefer, and it just so happens that Stu has the same order as me of the albums. So, and you can obviously chime in with which ones you liked, but the one that we've put at the bottom is the 2021's "This Place Will Become Your Tomb." Like it's a fantastic follow-up to the debut album. Like it's a good album, lots of great hooks, great rhythms. I just don't think it reaches the heights that Sundowning did. It doesn't quite have that consistency all the way through. But yeah, also it kind of falls off halfway through for me. The songs on the second half are not half as strong as the first half, but the songs on the first half of the album are very, very strong indeed. So yeah, I mean, like Atlantic, great opener, incredible. The Love That You Want is an amazing song. And Alkaline is one of the band's best songs without a shadow of a doubt. Like it did make me think, though, actually, that I think they've only got one good music video. One thing this band struggles with is that none of their music videos are very good, and they don't do a lot of them. They do visualizers more than they do music videos. Yeah. I don't understand how they haven't thought that this music could lead so well to some fantastic music videos. I just don't get that they haven't really pushed that side of the band before. But there is a little Easter egg here that our boy, Adam Leader of In Search of Sun, friend of the podcast, actually stars in the Alkaline video alongside Mr. Vessel himself. So, little interesting fact for you there.
Yeah. I was telling Soren about that earlier, actually. I had YouTube on, watching it all downstairs, and I said, because I think I showed him some In Search of Sun before, and he really enjoyed Aerial. It was a while back now when it was released. Yeah, and I said to him, look, 21 million people watched this. Do you remember Adam from In Search of Sun? About you banded Aerial? He's in this, and he was like, oh, can we listen to that song again? I haven't heard it for a while. So he wanted to listen to Aerial. I hadn't heard it for ages either.
Amazing. He's got some great stories about that day. So if you get a chance, ask him, because he's got some great stories about that whole Sleep Token filming experience.
Yeah. Well, he said a little bit about it when he came on.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah, he did.
Was it the first time he came on, or second? But yeah, where he almost fell down like a 3-story
Oh, the stairs.
drop.
Yeah, the stairs with the hole in. Oh, yeah, I remember now. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he's got some other ones that he maybe won't say on here, but if you ask him personally, he might tell you.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I'll say no more than that.
Okay.
Sorry, Stu, This Place Will Become Your Tom.
This Place Will Become Your Tom. Yeah, same as yourself. It's out of the 3, it comes in 3rd place, unfortunately. I won't delve into the other albums just yet, but it's just what came before it was just perfection, start to finish. So it needed a lot to beat. Obviously, Sundowning, and then Take Me Back to Eden was just a better album as well. I mean, I struggle to think of a standout song from This Place Will Become Your Tomb. if you give me a quick second to check the album itself. Alkaline is an incredible song, and that's probably like my one takeaway song from that album. Otherwise, I feel bad saying it, but a lot of it's quite a bit of filler for me.
I think that's fair. Fair. Like I said, I think that the first half's really good, and the second half really drops quite considerably for me, which is why that album is just not quite up there. Have you had a chance to listen to that one?
No, I haven't. Sorry, I don't know if I'll keep my laugh in or not, or if I'll keep this bit in, but it just made me laugh that the whole album of filler in this one good song. There's normally a few good songs and the rest is filler. It's like
all filler, no killer. All filler, one killer.
All filler, one killer.
So that's Sum 41 album.
That's great.
No, I have not listened to this album. I haven't listened to any albums apart from the last one. There's
only 3.
Will become your
Pick one.
No, hang on. What's it? Take Me Back to Eden. That's the one.
That's the latest.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll talk about that now because we have put in second place Take Me Back to Eden, obviously from 2023, the last one. Like a really good album overall. My only issue with this one is that from Vor onwards, I think there's a little dip in quality for like 3 songs, but then it picks up again on Do You Wish That You Loved Me, and then continues to be excellent to the end. So I feel like this one only has a drop-off on about 3 songs, but I think all of the rest of it is really, really good, interesting lyrical content, like what Stu was speaking about, covers some great subjects, and then you've got, obviously, classic songs, Chokehold, Summoning, Granite, Do You Wish You Loved Me, and the title track, Take Me Back to Eden, is just a lovely song. I really like that song. So I think it's a great album, even with the slight drop of the 3 songs. I'm not saying they're bad songs. I just feel like the others are so good, it just lets itself down on that little bit. I don't know how you feel about this one, Stu.
Yeah, I mean, as you've said, like to have 2 opening tracks to an album of Chokehold and The Summoning, like incredible songs. Chokehold is, in my opinion, Sleep Token's best song. It is a diamond, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if anyone hasn't checked it out, the legend that is Will Ramos of Lorna Shore fame had done a cover of this on YouTube, and I'm sorry to say it, I think it's better than the original.
I've listened to it. It's not better.
I apologise.
But okay, you're feeling it. It's good. I think it's really good. I don't think it's better, but okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I love it. And then, followed by The Summoning, which I'm sure we'll delve into TikTok fame a bit later on, but that's what birthed.
Is that the one? Okay.
That was the one. We'll go into that later after the albums.
Yeah.
And it just Take Me Back to Eden. Brilliant album. Yeah, hopefully a return to form. Something to look forward to with the next release, whenever that may be. Because I would like to think they've got it down now. They know exactly what they're doing.
I've got a little bit after these albums to speak about what we think they're going to do next musically. So we'll put a pin in that. You've listened to Take Me Back to Eden. What did you think?
Yeah, well, not enough to be able to comment on it. But like I said, I think if I were to get into them, it would be to the point where I know every single lyric, every single word that he says, because I need to know it, and I need to know the lore behind it as well. I mean, I looked into it a little.
Yeah,
bit.
I mean, knowing the way that you love like Easter eggs and getting into like the nooks and crannies of albums, like you did with the most recent Bring Me the Horizon, you loved it just for the Easter eggs and whatever.
Yeah.
If you listen to these lyrics and go down a rabbit hole on YouTube about the meaning of the lyrics, I can guarantee you'll love it. And I think you need to do it before download, because
you've got 5 months,
it's
mate.
just going to elevate your experience.
Get on it, yeah.
I mean,
he'll just like emerge after 5 months, like with a massive beard down to his knees.
No, he's in full
worship.
He's in full vessel cosplay for the set.
Well, for the people listening, we're doing this a day early. I did actually start listening to a podcast about Sleep Token today, called Sleep Theory. And it's something like 36, 40 episodes, something like that. So not too many to get through.
It's fucking mental.
I got to number 4
That's
today, and I was there like 15, 20, 25-minute episodes. So it wouldn't have taken too much to get through them. But yeah, I was planning on getting through as many of them as possible before recording this, but we're doing it a day early. But it was interesting. Like, the guy was going, like, diving into, I think, every single song, pretty much. He was doing an episode per song.
Nice.
And
nice.
Yeah, it was so good, and I loved it. And so I am gonna, even though we're recording this now, I am gonna go back to that podcast and listen more. And I will probably be a huge fan by the time I finish the podcast.
I can see it. You're gonna be.
Yeah.
Good.
But yes, so the album wise, I wasn't very keen on it. I'm trying to avoid doing what I said last week.
You weren't thrilled by it instantly.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then at the top, we have put 2019 Sundowning. So what I said before, this one was weird because they drip fed you songs for it. So we knew the album was coming out, but they put out the first song from the album, and we were all like, oh, awesome, they've released a single. But then they started releasing a song every 2 weeks, and we were like, what the hell? And that's what made up the album. So you got a song every 2 weeks that made up the entirety of the album. So I can't remember how long it was, but it was like 5 months until you got the full album, because all you got was a song every 2 weeks. Yeah. So it was a great experience being a Sleep Token fan, because you'd be like, oh, new songs coming out this week. I want to know what it's going to be. You know, sometimes you get a somber one, then you get like The Offering, or you get Sugar, or, you know, like it would be great to vary to see like what you were going to get this week. Was it going to be a slow one, a fast one, a heavy one? So I just thought that was a really cool and sort of innovative way to release. I know bands do it all the time now, but in 2019, it wasn't like everyone was doing that at the time. So that was just another sort of thing that they were doing that no one else was, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. And another thing that they did, and again, Adam, I know you're going to love it before I even say it. Mm-hmm. I mean, sundowning, I'll just read the terminology, what it means. So sundowning is a term used for changes in behaviour that occur in the evening around dusk. Some people who have dementia experience a growing sense of agitation or anxiety at this time. So that was like the meaning behind the album name. So as Si's already said, they subsequently released each song, but it was at sunset, obviously for UK fans. So at sunset, they'd release each song specifically at that time because of sundowning. Just as you say, to gain huge exposure instead of releasing an entire album and maybe losing 1 or 2 songs in the album. And then to go with that, every single song from the album came with its own line of limited merch. So it's not like they didn't release the album and then it was like, you can get this hoodie with the album cover art. Every single song had a different rune, which is like obviously a historic letter or number, whatever. And every single song had its own rune. And yeah, I thought that was really good. And then obviously the completion of the runes was the album.
Yeah, I think it was. I believe it was chemistry symbols, but then they were changed and adapted. I believe it was chemistry.
Oh, okay.
Very cool. Very cool. So my favorite album, Stu's favorite album. It's just the perfect balance of, you know, beautiful soundscapes, distorted guitars. Vessel's voice on this album literally just like speaks directly into your soul. Like there's no other way to put it, really. His range from screaming to literally the most subtle, beautiful high falsettos you've ever heard. Right in performances, everything is literally executed to 100%. I've even put it down here, how can you listen to this album and not have any feelings? Like, if you're not human, if this album doesn't make you feel something. Production is absolutely exquisite. That's all I can say about the production. It's unreal.
It's incredible.
For me, out of the 2010s, which this just goes into, it's one of my 10 out of 10 albums from the 2010s. It is absolutely crazily good from start to finish. Like, when this album came out, I could not believe that an album had been put out by a band and this was the first album and it was that good.
Yeah.
Unreal.
For someone's debut album to sound that good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you stand it up to compare it to the newer releases as well, it sounds just as good production-wise.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible that they're able to achieve that on the first album. After releasing, 6 songs off 2 EPs, they can then go and release an album like that. Yeah. Truly incredible.
Yeah, the EP ones don't sound half as good as this. They still sounded good. They had a good sound, but yeah, production on this is unreal, absolutely unreal. Ad, have you you've probably heard a couple of tracks off of it, but obviously you haven't listened to the album as a whole, probably.
Yeah, I put it on a little while ago. I didn't get very far through it. Not just because I wasn't enjoying it, but I think I was busy. I had something to do as well anyway. But I never went back to it. But yeah, I might go back to it at some point.
I think this is a kind of sit still, don't do anything.
Yeah,
just sit
take
there.
it all in.
Yeah, put those headphones on, get the lyrics up, and just enjoy yourself, because you will enjoy yourself from it. It's
have a pack of tissues.
Yeah. Have a pack of tissues and get ready to call some old friends and girlfriends, because this guy is going to speak to your soul and open up things, parts of your soul and body and heart that you never knew existed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you know what? I was just looking at who they were signed to, because I know they're on Spine Farm Records. I'm just wondering who they were on.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was someone else, and then they traded over, didn't they?
Yeah. It does.
Are they on Spine Farm now, or was this one on Spine Farm?
No.
And they moved over.
22 signed to Spine Farm and first 2 albums.
Oh, maybe they were on Spine Farm by this point. Then they probably already got on there.
I don't know who they're on now, if it has changed. But yeah. So I've heard some people say, and obviously I would have assumed that the production and overall quality of the albums would have got better as they went on, because they just blew up massively. Mm-hmm. And so they are, far bigger. And like I said, I've heard on like a 1 or 2 YouTube videos, people say that the latest album is by far the best production value, or no value, best production.
It's really good. They're all really good. But yeah, still fantastic. There's no dip. We're just surprised that their first album sounds so good. The songs are better, but the production's good for all of them. Yeah, you wouldn't listen to it and you'd go, these are all really, really great sounding albums, definitely.
Like, you could have taken, just to take an example, The Offering. You could have put The Offering on Take Me Back to Eden, and you would have believed it was recorded in the same period of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's that good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I was going to say before is, and this is probably more for Stu, but Adam, obviously you can chime in as well, because you haven't really had the thing. But I'm just thinking about where the band would go next with that album. And what I've written down is that musically, I'd like them to combine those beautiful moments with something a little bit more evil. And I'm not talking about putting in more djent breakdowns, because bands think, just you put in more djent and it makes it sound more evil. It doesn't necessarily. I mean darker in general. I want the band to have that really beautiful side, but have like a really, really dark side to sort of contrast it. But I have a feeling, because they're popular, they're going to go in the complete opposite direction and go even more accessible than they did on Take Me Back to Eden. So I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, going to end up with some more sexy R&B breakdowns.
Yeah.
Who can like bump and grind to. Yeah, probably. But in saying like make it more evil,
yeah,
I can see how that's totally ready for them. That's so accessible. Like I'm going to dip into a little bit of lore. I'm going to dip my toe. Listening to like the lyrics and stuff. Excuse me as I dip my toe. Listening to the lyrics, especially on Sundowning, people have got all their own like concepts and ideas of what it means. But correct me if I'm wrong, so you might know better than Ad here. There is no true meaning to these songs. It's all just speculation.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's not like Vessels come out and said, I wrote these lyrics because it means this. No. So everyone's is speculation, yeah? So in just taking Sundowning as an example, listening to the lyrics, it's almost like Vessel is trying to win the affection of someone who doesn't want him back, if you know what I mean. But it's like he's in a relationship and he gives everything and that person gives 10%, whatever. And like in certain songs, it's like, you've got diamonds for teeth, take a bite of me, just give me a chance, have a go, you might like it. But then later on, you've got Sugar, which is almost as though the roles reverse and you're hearing it from the other entity's perspective.
I've got a taste
Sugar,
of you.
I've developed a taste for you. And just those revelations in my head, that's made the song so much better, because it's like, I like to think I understand what's even going on here. But yeah, everything has been so encapsulated by like a love narrative.
Yeah.
And then we did say earlier, I'm not sure if it was before the pod, it's almost like the heavier songs is when Vessels got pissed off at the whole scenario.
Yeah.
And then he just breaks out into this filthy djent music.
Which makes sense, because the album end, the Bloodsport,
yeah,
Loving You is a blood sport. And he says, I can't win.
Mm-hmm.
Loving You is like a blood sport. Whatever I do, whatever you do, we're both going to get hurt. So he's like, it's a blood sport. I can't win. I think that's very poignant because, like you just said, to sort of at the end of it, you're like, there's nothing I can do, nothing I can say, do, because I'm just going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. It's like, honest. I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking about that track, Bloodsport. Oh man, I have to fight back the tears listening to that song. That song's deep.
But just to take like how it encapsulates love and everything, and you can see how the next album could be like, I don't know, really dirty breakup and just like pure hatred and whatever. Like, they've got it in the bank to do it. I think
definitely.
I think I'm going to chip in here a little bit as well. I can't say too much because I haven't got really this far, but that's also been interpreted, Bloodsport, as in him arguing with himself.
All that again,
if it's some kind of self-harm, then yes, both of them get hurt. That's what some people have
could very much be as well. This is great. This is why if you don't give away what your songs are... a lot of famous musicians don't give away what their songs are like, and it's always about what your interpretation is. And normally when they tell you what it's about, it ruins it because you're like, oh, that's rubbish. Mine was way better than the reason you come up with. So it is kind of nice that everyone's just making their own ideas up about what these songs mean to them, which is nice. These songs, some of these songs really do mean a lot to me. So I think everyone else will have those emotions. It will mean one thing to Vessel, one thing to me, one thing to Stu, one thing to you, which I like about them. We can all enjoy them, but we're all enjoying them in slightly different ways. Which is
that's it. Cool. It's down to interpretation. It's like if you were to ask like Vessel, it's out for interpretation. You make it what you want to make it.
Yeah. Ask
Axl Rose what Paradise City is about. It's grass is green and the girls are pretty. You know what I mean? It's just more thought evoking. You've got to work for it to be good. But once you've arrived at that point of understanding, it makes it so much better.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And things like this make me wonder how much thought people have put into this. Have they deliberately written it so it can be taken in any different way? Or is that just a natural talent that comes to them? That's the way they do things. And it's just, just a natural talent that it's come out that way.
I think that depends, though. I'm not comparing myself to Vessel in any way, but I've been showing Vicky the lyrics for our band recently, and she's been like, what's that about? And then I told her, and it's completely different to what she thought it was when she read the lyrics. So I guess it's every song ever is really up for interpretation unless the person tells you what it's about. So maybe they are trying to be vague purposely, so you don't have any understanding. But also, that's just the way some people write. And also, some people think so vastly differently to other people that they might be speaking honestly about something in there, but everyone else is reading it in a completely different way to what they're saying. He might be going there going, how can no one know what this song is about? Because it clearly says what this song's about. But we're all just going, I don't know. I think it's about this. So, yeah.
Yeah, like Sugar's just his like complete love for Haribo or something. And we're all like,
Sugar.
Man,
I got a taste for you. Come on, give me all these Haribo. Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like literally just sat there having a dib dab.
Dib-dab.
We're reading this far into it on a podcast.
Yeah.
At 10 to 10 at night.
Totally agree.
No, I do really think it is his artistic brilliance. Going back to what I said earlier, and it's something we said a long time ago, Simon, is about how in music the cream doesn't always rise to the top.
Yeah,
and I
true.
grabbed hold of that for ages, and I was like, I fully believed it. But yes, maybe that works for instrument, for how good people are at their instrument and whatever, but actual artistic writing, like proper artists, like I think they do come through, they do shine through more than people who aren't as artistic and brilliant, like absolute genius artisticness. That's not even a word, is it? So we're not going anywhere because you've got me, and I can't even get that sentence out. But you know,
I get what you mean, though. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But where I think they're going, so again, musically, I can't really comment too much. But I did think about because of it's all because of the sleep, the deity sleep, and everything, and it made me think, will he get to a point where he finishes the story that he's trying to say, and will they carry on after that? Because things like I don't know, you've never seen Supernatural, have you? But
I have the first couple of seasons, but a long time ago.
Yeah, there's a lot of series that do it. You know, they have a beginning and end, and they get to that point, and they just carry on, and they're crap after they carried on. They should have stopped at the proper ending that they already had written. And it probably won't happen with Sleep Token, but it did make me wonder if that sort of thing would happen. You know, where would they go when he finishes the story?
Also, putting out 3 albums in like 4 years is ridiculous. But then again, is that one of the reasons why they're so big? Because they've never gone away, really.
Yeah.
They've sort of always been there. But how can you put out quality albums every other year? I mean, is that surely would become a problem at some point. So everyone's good, but no one's that good, surely, to make high quality albums every couple of years, because that's pretty ridiculous.
Thing is, they fit perfectly into like this whole, the new generation doesn't have an attention span. They fit into it perfectly. So it's like they release an album. They don't want to wait 3 years for another album. So they release another album. It's like, I love this band. I've got new stuff already. And then they finish that album.
True, actually.
They play that to death for the next year. Oh, I've got another album. So they just seem to fit perfectly on the target demographic.
Yeah. I think we're currently, this is the longest we've been without new music, I believe. It was like pretty much an album or an EP per year. And now it's been almost 2 years. It was May, did you say May 2023?
Yeah, it was around there, wasn't it?
Yeah, so almost 2 years. So it's got to be one coming out soon, right?
I was Googling it today, and they were saying that there is rumblings about a 2025 album, but there's been nothing confirmed hard by anyone in the industry or the label or anything. So no one knows. But again, they could be one of these bands that this time next week, you could see a single come out. It will just come out of nowhere. No one's gonna. The band's gonna specifically say to the label, "Don't tell anyone until it's out." You know, you just never know with bands like this. They're so mysterious. Even their releases are vague and mysterious, and they do what they want, which is cool. It's unexpected. It's awesome. But yeah.
Yeah. So, Stu, did you have any ideas of what you think they're gonna do in the future, or have you said pretty much everything?
I mean, there's obviously going to be album, if not albums, in the pipeline, and I think they can just change it up completely because they're the ones telling the story. They can write whatever they want to write. There could be some kind of like, I don't know, the deity Sleep is now their enemy, so now they've got to write an album where it's like completely flipped onto the head. They've gone from what would be the word, like praising it and seeing it as a god, and then the god of sleep's like some evil entity that they never realised, so then that flips it all on its head. There's so many things they could do, and I'm sure, as we've seen with like the lyricists, how they've wrote the lyrics and everything, they're so clever that they're going to do it. They'll smash it out of the park 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah. And if it comes to an end, they'll just like you said, flip it on their head and create a wake.
Yeah.
Worship.
But I could definitely see them as a band where it's like, if it does come to an end, that's it. They won't tour again.
Yeah.
100%,
They were
100%
a fleeting thing. They were here and then they're gone. If they're going to not write any more albums, they're not the kind of band that'd tour for like the next 20, 30 years. I
agree with that. Yeah, I could see that happening. Like another album or 2 hours, however long it takes them to finish the story, and then you're done. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the story. Appreciate Sleep Token. That was it. They're over.
That's crazy, yeah.
And they could all go into other bands and be completely different people. They could be themselves. It doesn't matter because that's not Sleep Token.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That is a crazy thing to think about because that doesn't happen in music. Going back to TV shows, that does happen in TV shows. People will go, right, I've got a 3-season story arc. Mm-hmm. That's it. That'll be it.
Yeah, we're done.
But you don't see that in music. But because there's another thing I was thinking about this earlier. We're seeing a lot of things like this where it's a whole production, it's a whole story in the band, not just and the story behind the music, not just Sleep Token. We sort of Bring Me the Horizon. So it's all must be younger people growing up with different things than we grew up with. Maybe, well, Stu, you probably grew up with different things than we grew up with. You're a bit older than us. We're only 25 at the minute. But no, like this generation coming up now, we're going to see some incredible things coming from bands in the future, I think.
Well, it's just new means of like putting something across, and isn't it? Like media's not going to be what it is now in 10 years' time.
No,
it could be like beamed straight to your brain within 10 years.
Yeah.
So bands will just move with the times. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Different ways of putting out music, different ways of making music, publicizing it, getting it out. I mean, I know Stu might touch on it, but you never would have thought that bands now get big from TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
How were you supposed to see that 10, 15 years ago? You wouldn't have expected that to happen. And now bands, they get absolutely massive from someone putting their song in the back of their video. That's crazy. That's mental. If you'd have said that to someone in 2005, they would have been like, have a laugh. That's mental. And that was even before, the Bring Me the Horizon MySpace thing, which was the first sort of iteration of that, where bands were getting huge on a social media platform. But yeah, now it's just a whole new level. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we can touch on that if you want. We can go into the TikTok song if we want.
Yes.
Yeah,
which is obviously The Summoning. So that just became the TikTok alt girl thirst trap song.
Thirst trap.
It was just the perfect mix of, like a bit of nu metal, gent, as we say, and then R&B, and it was just too sexy for everyone to handle. And we all know that a trending TikTok song equals like galactic popularity, because it's like the biggest means of consuming media on the planet is TikTok. Like, there's no argument about it.
Yeah.
So with that song in particular, I've got the statistics here. With the rise in popularity of that song, it saw them reach like 3.7 million listeners at the time when that was the trending song. So it's incredible, as you say. It only takes one song with like a sexy hook to be grabbed onto. Sexy hook, and it just shoots them to like superstardom. Yeah. It's just the way media is consumed these days.
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it's funny you say R&B, because I'm not sure if they were fully R&B, but some of the songs when I was listening earlier, some of the slower songs, they reminded me of some slower R&B songs from the 90s. Definitely. Like, it definitely reminded me of sort of another level.
Yeah, 100%. And all that kind of stuff. Yeah. His voice at times is very boy band like, very much so.
Don't tell me that.
It's true though. He does. He has. They have those catchy hooks. They have the catchy hooks of a pop band, basically. I know they're beautiful, well written, probably a lot better than some of that boy band stuff. But the way he sings with the falsettos and the nice lyrics, and like we said, the R&B beats, it is very 2000s boy band, 90s boy band esque in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
which is why they're so hard to define musically, because it's such a mixed bag of so much stuff. It's very difficult to pinpoint where each song's going to go, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, even like discussing what we have already, you might not believe what I'm about to say, but in our earlier years, they have actually got a cover of Hey Ya by Outkast, R&B, you know what I mean? And then they've also got another cover, which is bizarre, because if you put This Is Sleep Token on Spotify, this comes on, and is it I Want to Dance With Somebody, Whitney Houston?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's on there as well. And it's like, after we've discussed like how in depth they are and all this, that, and the other, that's the last thing you'd expect to come on. But yeah, so he's obviously got some love for R&B, and it's engraved in his brain to come seeping out when the creative juices start flowing.
Yeah. You said The Summoning. What album was that on?
The Summoning is the most recent. Take Me Back to Eden.
Okay. Oh, that's weird. Is that weird? I don't know if that's weird. We were obviously talking about that album when it first came out, so it was kind of getting big in our community. Not community, our
I remember saying to you that I was blown away by the change in that song, because I had it on the speaker in the kitchen. I remember it. I was washing up, and the song was plodding along, and I was like, "Oh, this is this is." I said to Vicky, she was in the room. I was like, "Babe, this is great. You're great, babe. Just washing up." All of a sudden, boom, boom, down. I know, and I was like, "What? What the fuck has just happened to this track?" I was like,
it's like 5 minutes into the track as well. A 6.5 minute track, and it's 5 minutes into it. It just suddenly becomes like 2023's R&B banger at the end of this like filthy gent breakdown that they've just had.
Yeah. So very unexpected. So I can see why it tickled so many taste buds of so many people at the time, because it was just like, yeah, this is wild stuff. This is really great change. And they're smooth transitions. They're not like real hard cuts that feel forced. And they've obviously thought about how the music's going to flow from each part to the next, which again just proves how good musically they are. I mean, one thing we haven't mentioned is the drumming on these albums is fucking fantastic. Like, their drummer is incredible. He is an incredible drummer. So we just have to mention that, because wow, some of the fills are really, really good.
I mean, sat here recording, I'm hoping you can't hear it, but I've been finger tapping that breakdown in summoning the entire time. So if you can hear like some knee slapping, like that's me. I apologise. I've just got it in my head and I just can't get it out because it's such good drumming.
So I was going to watch a video about that actually, because on YouTube it's obviously titled "The Impossible Drumming of Sleep Token," but it's probably to have a video in the first place about it obviously means it's going to be good. So I will look at that as well. So I was aware of it, but I hadn't heard it. Going back to the summoning a second ago, like the fact that all happened, that blew up. While I was aware of them, as recently as that, I wasn't aware of that. That's what blew me away a little bit.
You would have seen them.
Video title.
You would have seen them before Take Me to Eden even came out, because you saw them in 2022. So you would have seen them on This Place Will Become Your Tomb sort of era.
Yeah. I think you said. So I'd never heard of them before that. We went to watch them. They were on the Avalanche stage. But you said the sound wasn't that great at the time.
Yeah, not their sound, but the sound on the Avalanche stage is never that great, if I'm honest. They made Holding Absence sound the worst. Actually, no, sorry, second worst to Slam Dunk 2023. That was the worst I've ever heard. Holding Absence. That's the worst I've ever heard most bands sound, but that's the worst I've had Holding Absence sound. Second to Downloads 2022, where it was just a bloody awful sound on that stage. Oh, absolutely awful. Loathe and Sleep Token, two bands that you can normally guarantee sound fucking fantastic, both sounded pretty dire, if I'm honest. And that's no fault of the band. You could tell that their on-stage sound was good, but I don't know what was going on front of house. No idea. That's why whenever a band gets booked on the Avalanche stage that I really want to see, I'm like, fuck.
Why not the other stage?
I know the sound is going to be shit. So, fingers crossed for no Avalanche. I barely spent any time on the Avalanche stage last year because all the bands I wanted to see were all playing first and second. And the first stage sound was shit last year as well. So, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't great at all. So, yeah.
All right, that's probably... I think we've probably said just about as much as we can about their set, what we think is going to happen, their music in general. Good, approving nods, thank you. Were you aware that all three of their albums, you can layer them on top of each other and they make a picture?
What?
You haven't
seen
that?
What, if you change the opacity of them?
Yeah.
I was not aware.
I'm going to share my screen.
I was going to say, I'm going to do that afterwards, but if you're going to share it already...
I've got something else we can touch on in regards to popularity and just mind-blowing statistics. So if we want to go back to that afterwards.
We can end on that. That's good.
Okay.
Pump people up.
Oh, come on.
This ain't going to work either, is it?
You're going to do this and it's going to be a perfect stream of your face.
It's working, but it's quite small. I'm gonna download it. I'm going to download it and open it in a different thing. Just to get
keep looking at that bottle of whiskey thinking...
Get more. No, I've gone through mine. I can't have any more. I'll be pissed.
Bumberclarted.
I'll have a headache for work tomorrow.
Sorry, it's going to open it. Bring it over here and then share my screen. And for the people listening, I will put a picture up of this in the Discord as well.
Oh, okay.
So the head fits perfectly inside their logo. From was it the sundowning? Was it sundowning?
Sundowning, yeah.
The lines.
The lines perfectly sort of fade out where the world is or the moon is. The hands perfectly fit there. So it was all
conspiracies, man.
Yeah,
I'll be interested to see what they do on the next one then.
Yeah, whether it's going to fit as well or whether it's going to be a different thing.
I'd purposely do something that just like ruins it completely.
I'm pretty sure. What was it? Am I still alive? There was something.
Am I still alive? I thought you said that.
Hello, am I still alive? Yes, you are.
Just let me check my pulse a second.
Why aren't you zooming? Oh, bugger off. Anyway, yeah. Basically, I think part of the that was left open so you can see part of.
Why are you showing us that,
else.
Adam? Put it away.
I don't know what's going on. How did the stream go? I don't know.
Jesus.
I don't know how it went.
Good size of it.
But yeah, I'll put that in a Discord. That was really cool when I first discovered that. It was actually a few months ago.
That is very cool.
Yeah. And obviously deliberate. What's going on here? I haven't shared my screen to other people or anything, have I? We're backstage. What have you done?
No.
Oh, you just picked the picture on. Sorry. Yes. So did you... There we go. Also, when... So I said earlier about how every single song that they've released is in order. And so it starts. The first song is them or Vessel basically being introduced to Sleep, and then the first few songs, only from what I've found from the podcast, is basically a conversation between the two. So one of the like you said, Stu, like it's just an incredible thing when you realise that it's not just from Vessel's perspective. Some of the lyrics are from Sleep, and like that's another sort of puzzle. And it opens up a whole new sort of meaning to it. Mm. And then when they were, so you said about the singles from the first one having like the chemistry things. And I think from the next album they released things in increments again, but they had coordinates.
Yes, I saw that, but I didn't delve into it, so I'm interested to hear what you've got on that.
Yeah, so when everything was released and people could piece it together and find what the coordinates were, it pointed to a place called Point Nemo, which is the most what's the right word? The furthest from any land you could possibly be on Earth, or on the sea, basically. the most remote location. Which was quite interesting. Nice. And that's was awesome. Obviously the second one. This place will become your tomb, where it's all about drowning as well, isn't it? Which is
that's cool.
Pretty crazy. And that there's the Eden Code. I'm sure both of you have seen that. That took a big team of people time to work out what the code was and how to read it. And it's quite a simple pig pen cipher. But yeah, I enjoyed learning about that. I kind of assume I know I'd seen those symbols before. So if anybody's not sure, it's the symbols that you can see on the front cover of Take Me Back to Eden, I believe. Is it on the front cover? You can confirm
it is, yeah.
That?
Oh no, sorry. So they've got the runes on the front, which spells out the name of the album, apparently.
Yes, it does. Yeah. So that's the pig pen cipher.
Got you.
You would have seen a pig pen cipher before. It's basically a noughts and crosses board. And so the first one is A. So it's what that sort of little corner of the noughts and crosses board would look like on its own, and then B, and then C. Cool. And then also one of the videos I was watching actually called it the trilogy of trauma. The 3 albums. Have you heard that? You both nodded. You both nodded, and then shook your head exactly the same way. Then that was brilliant. I wish we were recording.
See, why are you not recording this? That would have been a great little clip.
Yeah, that was amazing. And so that was one of the interpretations that I was saying about how it could have been, about himself, about like there was no sleep, there was no other person. It was like it was all mental health and arguing with himself and saying you will not get the best of me, which is like the mental health, the mental. Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, it's good. That could be. You never know. We'll have to ask him down a pub.
I'll share the video for that I watched as well, because it was really, really good. And like I said, the way the guy spoke, and one of the videos I found was called I think it was Sleep Token Luke. And after watching a few videos, I am suspicious that he might actually be in the band, but no one would know. So it just, maybe, I don't know. But the creatures as well. So obviously did for the first album, they did like the little symbols. The third album, Take Me Back to Eden, they released creatures kind of similar to 13 Ghosts, and each creature had its own little backstory. Did you see that?
Saw the creatures and the different characters that were released, but I wasn't aware there was like backstories for each one. No.
Okay. Maybe there isn't. Maybe it was just this guy's thoughts on it that he put together, and he gave them backstories. I don't know, but yeah, all the creatures reminded me of things you would see in Elden Ring.
Yeah, 100%. They're definitely like Dark Souls bosses.
Yeah,
these creatures, aren't they?
Eden and Elden sound similar. We're going to get Take Me Back to Elden DLC.
Take Me Back to Elden.
Definitely,
That's
right?
Great.
I'm sure we'll sooner get Vessel as like a skin on Fortnite before then.
Oh, probably. Oh my God, yeah. That's not even a ridiculous thing to say. Seeing what Fortnite do.
Metallica are on Fortnite, so
yeah, that makes sense. Jesus Christ.
But it was this comparison with the Elden Ring creatures and the Eden creatures that made me think about what I said earlier about how sort of the younger generation have got a better, sort of more artistic mind than a lot of people. Like, game developers, mostly up until recently, have probably been like old boomers who got into it from the Atari and they just kept hold of it. But there's probably like a whole wave of game developers that grew up and they're like 20, 25, something like that age, and they've all just got incredible brains. And that's could be just a sort of theory, I thought.
Yeah,
and,
I agree.
And we're seeing that in music as well at the minute. Games have just gone off the charts, especially with Elden Ring. You never see anything like that before. Cool. Yeah, and yeah, I think that was about it. That's all I had. There is way more to it than I've had a chance to look at, but I think it's fascinating. I think it's really, really well done, and we're going to see more of it. Definitely. In the future.
I think it's like a testament to how good they are as a band and how much interesting stuff there is about them that we've just managed to sit here and talk for so long effortlessly about such a new band.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully, so I'm going to read you something here.
Okay.
Whether I have it in this spot or put it at the end, I don't know. But I'm going to read you a message from Jeremy Domus. And it was a comment on our Instagram for the Green Day episode. And it says, amazing how you three managed to motivate me for this headliner I couldn't care less about. Bought Dookie when I was 13 and left it there. After listening to the podcast this morning, I gave Green Day another chance. Still not interested, but I'm eager to be there anyway. So let's see if we can do that. I'm assuming we would have probably done that for a few people with a sleep token.
I'd like to think so, yeah.
I hope so. Because if nothing else, it will be a very interesting gig to attend. I think that it will, even if people don't necessarily like the music, they might be interested in the lore or the performance or just the general presentation of what you're going to get, especially if you've never seen them live before. You might have your socks blown off, definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
sure.
I've said this many times, and I'm gonna keep saying it. I was exactly the same for Bring Me the Horizon. I tried to listen to them before download, and I couldn't get into them. But after seeing them, I was a massive fan. So it's not like I just put them to the side and didn't try to get into them, and then all of a sudden they blew me away. I actually wanted to. So yeah, it's definitely worth it, unless the name is Biffy Clyro.
Oh, so
dread.
Yeah, to Bruni at the end.
Should we end on some quick facts from Stu? About some stuff, and then we'll see everyone out.
When you said facts plural, I can see what can do a bit
factoids, fact.
Deja vu from last episode. I was expecting more from him. So, okay, all right, that's it.
So I can just give you a quick fact. Obviously, we're saying they've got huge so quickly, and how they're managing to dwarf some of the biggest names in rock and metal in history. Just read this out for you here. So, Take Me Back to Eden, the album's most popular track on Spotify, The Summoning, has almost 92 million streams alone. By comparison, the most popular track on 72 Seasons, Metallica, has just 2/3 of that, 62 million.
Huh.
Wow.
Per month, Take Me Back to Eden saw 3,131,019 monthly listeners on Spotify, totaling 324,681 streams. So for a band that's released 3 albums to stream more than Metallica, no introduction needed, is truly incredible.
That is incredible. That is incredible.
That is,
and it's
good.
I think that's a good Metallica album as well.
Yeah.
So it's it's weird to hear that Sleep Token are pulling out more listens than Metallica.
Yep. And if that doesn't deserve them a headline slot at Download, what does?
Fair.
Yeah, I agree. Should we start to wrap it up there?
Yeah, I think it's a great place to end.
Yeah, fantastic.
Perfect little cap off there. Yeah,
it was. Yeah, thank you, Stu. That was a nice episode. Yeah, when we first started, I was worried about how far we would actually get. It was like a short 30-minute episode. Sorry, Alex, but no, we've done all right. We've done well. So yeah, it's time to finish it up there. So Patreons, we got to say a massive thank you to our Patreons. I haven't looked. We did tell them to change their names last episode, and we told them to change it to something. It was just to Sleep Token related or to make us laugh through at Stu's expense.
Oh, okay.
Mike Ferris, Andy T2. What are Sleep Token's skincare routine? Face masks. That one's from
Good.
Vicky. Matthew, I once dookied in a basket case. Metalcore is overrated. Again. Ben Saccone, Johnny Bravo, Chris, Sean Schofield, Jacob, a sleepy tea makes a tea sleepy. That one's from Alex, and then James. Thank you all very much for your Patreon contributions.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. All of you so much, you massive legends. We appreciate that. We do have to say, I know I said last episode that I was very close to getting the t-shirt sorted. I haven't messaged the artist yet, but as I said, it'll be very soon. I want to get them out as early as possible in the year as I can. So that should be coming soon. The exclusive Patreon t-shirt for 2024's Patreons. And if anybody wants to join the Patreon and get on the 2025 shirt, you can do. You find a link tree in the episode notes, as well as everything from these two guys. Stu, do you want to say a bit more about SMTV and Trash Talking?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Go?
Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed listening. I hope I've been interesting enough for you to be remotely interested in coming and checking out my other stuff that I got out. Over on YouTube, we got some festival vlogs, packing lists, do's and do nots of festivals. I'm SMTV over on YouTube. I also do a podcast called Trash Talkin Podcast. 2 episodes featuring the 2 guys here with me now. I ask questions relating to the musical upbringing, what made people want to become content creators. And yeah, I've had a number of content creators on there now. And just now booking bands from Bloodstock and Download for this year. So yeah, exciting things coming. Yeah, Instagram and TikTok, you can come and find me on there as well. It'd be a pleasure to have you.
Nice. Any bands you can tell us about yet? Or no,
not just yet. Just in case I embarrass myself and it falls through.
Okay, but that's cool. So you're going to be interviewing some of the bands that are playing, yeah?
Correct.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I didn't realise that.
It's news. Brand new news.
Brand new news.
Today, I think.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Well, yeah, I'll keep a lookout for that. And Simon,
yes.
YouTube.
By the time this video comes out, my video about bands that I can't stand will be out. So that'll be a little interesting video for everyone because, yeah, I'm not very nice to some bands in this video. So it's definitely an interesting watch. So that'll be out by this time. So if you haven't checked that out, go and check it out. And yeah, it's all going well on YouTube. Releasing a video a week. It's all going well. Band is practicing as hard as ever.
When music.
So we've got some stuff to come out on social media. So you guys will hear some little snippets that will be coming out soon. We're still not in the studio recording. We're working on the set for gigs. But
okay.
But yeah, there'll be snippets that you can hear. So yeah. But yeah.
Nice. And so again, that'll be in the show notes. But yeah, it's Simon Bond on YouTube, and band is Ashes by Dawn.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well remembered.
Ashes by Dawn. There we go.
Well remembered.
We may not get any new listeners. I'm assuming we'll get some new listeners because it's Sleep Token, but that's why I'm trying to clarify everything just in case people are new. But we may not get any new listeners, so I'll just droning on at the regular listeners. Probably fed up with me by now. Thank you for sticking around for this bit, you guys, as well. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up there. Like I said, the Patreon, we got the new t-shirts coming up. We've got a few different tiers on Patreon as well. Everything we get goes back into the podcast. Yeah, so that's it for us. We've got to say goodbye. Next episode will be about the mighty Korn. And we'll be joined by Stu again. So, Patreons, feel free to go and change your name to something Korn related or Stu related. Very nice. So that's it for us. Thank you for listening. We've been Dear Download plus Looky Loo. I don't know why I said that. We've been Dear Download plus Trash Talkin. So it's a goodbye from Stu.
Goodbye.
A goodbye from Simon.
Goodbye.
And a goodbye from me. Goodbye.